See, in the operations management part, the first study note, if you see, it is operation management introduction. Then we have operation planning, designing of operational system and control, production planning and control, and productivity management, project management, economics of maintenance. We have seven study notes for the operations management. And the study note 8 is a separate part for strategic management. So we will start with the study note 4, which is production planning and control. So if you have hard copies of your institute material, then you can open it. Otherwise, we'll share it together. So I'll just go to page 53. Production planning and control introduction. So guys, see, in this subject of operations management, basically what we would be doing is, as a cost accountant, you would be reviewing various industries. Now, these industries have operations running throughout. These operations range starting from planning stage, then from the planning stage. In the planning stage, they plan that how much production should I do, which project should I invest into. So when decision making happens, then decision making happens through various numbers. So for helping the organizers to take decisions, they are using this mathematical tool of operations management. Yeah. So I was saying that the organizers uses the operation management tools to take decisions. So this is a decision making subject we are talking about. So to take decisions, various planning methods are required. So if you look at the study note 4.1, we have production planning and control introduction. So guys, as you must already know, what is production planning? Production planning means when I am taking my inputs, then how much input should I be using so that I get a desired output. My desired output, if you study numerologically in your financial papers, then it is known as your sales. So how much sales do I want my business to occur? And what should be the inputs that should be used to occur that sale? Those would be required in your production planning. So see, if you can see the diagram here, techniques of production control. We have production control means what? Production control means if I am using my inputs to generate a desired level of output, then there could be overproduction also, there could be underproduction also. But as a business person, I do not want any time overproduction. I want an optimal level of production. So to generate an optimal level of production, I need to use various functions which start with the planning stage. After I had planned that how much production I want, I need to route this production. Routing means I need to design a path that whether it should be stored in a warehouse or it should be transformed from the raw material into a finished good. Then I schedule my production. Scheduling production means when should I start my production? How much time would I require to complete my production? And dispatching means ultimately when I have produced, then I need to send the product to the production inspector, wherein he would check that whether the product manufactured is of desired quality or not. And then I do the follow up at every stage. Follow up means, as I have planned, am I able to deliver according to the same level, or whether I am deviating from my plans? So this is a technique of production control. Now we have basic types of production control. This is not to be required. This is not required to be done in detail. See, guys, when we are talking about the theory aspect, I'll be telling you that what all should be studied in detail and what all has to be just browsed over. So, the production planning technique is required to be studied. Now, when you look at 4.2, we have time study, work study, method study, and job evaluation. So,
Madam,
what do we mean by time study? Time study means that we
excuse me,
are
madam.
humans who
Madam,
are, hello?
hey, madam, zoom your screen, sir. Zoom your screen. Here not visible.
Okay, the content is not visible to you.
Mm. Yes,
Okay,
madam.
just
Zoom it.
now is it visible clearly to you?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay, so guys, we just looked at techniques of production control in which we did routing, scheduling, dispatching, and follow up. After that, I am coming to time study, motion study. Okay. So time study says that basically we are human beings who are involved in the various stages of production. So we as human beings have different limitations. We as human beings have different limitations. Different limitation means what? I as a human can't work 24/7. I take breaks in between. When I move my body, then also it does not mean that every movement is causing production. So I have to discount the time that an individual takes in case of fatigue, ideal time, or sickness. So all these are included when I talk about my time study. So you see, the time study should ensure that planning of the work and the operations performed are in sequence, and the human effort which is involved is minimum. Minimum human effort means what? If a machine can do a work of a person, then it is better to hand the work to the machine and let the human body rest. Therefore, we have achieved the objective of machinization. This is the age of machinization where we have shifted from the laborious work and given that laborious work to the machines. Now, what is work study? Work study is basically it involves how men, material, money, and machinery are to be efficiently utilized. See, guys, men, materials, money, and machinery. All these resources have to be utilized optimally. Four M's. Men is your labor, material is your input, money is your amount invested, and machinery is your capital investment. All these have to be combined efficiently so that you achieve maximum production with minimum cost. So one more thing you have to keep in mind when we are studying this subject is our major aim is to achieve the maximum production, maximum output we want to generate. And to achieve that maximum output, we should be using a minimum cost. Also, when I generate a maximum output, then that maximum output should give me maximum profit. So I have two objectives when I study the paper of operations management. One is achieving maximum profit with minimum cost, and one is achieving maximum production with minimum cost. Therefore, I am using various tools to say that least of my input should be utilized and maximum profit should be generated. So when I talk about type study, work study, or method study, all of these have only one objective. And that one objective is, I'll repeat again, maximum profit with minimum cost, maximum production with minimum cost. Okay. Now, method study. Method study is basically a combination of motion study and time study, wherein motion study is your motion study is your work study, wherein it studies that okay, how much work can be done with minimum cost, and time study says that how much minimum time would be required to complete a particular task. So time study says about minimum time, and motion study says about minimum motion. And our objective is again the same, to generate maximum profit with minimum cost. Now, this part is like a question can be asked in your exam on assignment. So job allocation. See guys, before doing a question on assignment, I'll tell you what assignment is. Assignment says that there is, when we're studying time study and work study, said that there are the work has to be done with minimum time and minimum motion so that our output is generated at maximum profit with minimum cost. So when I am talking about assignment, it says that various jobs are available. Various jobs are available. And for these various jobs, various people are available. So I as an organizer, as an operation management or a planner, my work is to assign the right job to the right person. So to assign the right job to the right person, I need to look at assignment. So see, the first method in assignment is your Hungarian method. Hungarian method, okay? Uh, See, this is what we have to solve a question on the Hungarian method. So if you see illustration 1, 6 men are available for different jobs. So we have 6 men and we have 6 jobs. You see here, I'll just highlight. These are the men here, 6 men here. See 6 men and we have 6 jobs here. So to do 6 jobs, we have 6 men available. But we need to find out that which job should be done by which person. That is required by the question. Now what is given in this table? In this table it is given that how many hours the person takes to do a job. How many hours a person take to do a job. So see, if you see here in the first column, all of these are your columns. When you talk about starting from your top to bottom, these are your columns. And when you talk about your rows, the rows are for the men, the columns are for the jobs. So see, it is given that in the question it is given that the first man takes 2 hours to complete job 1. The first man takes how many hours to complete the job 1? 2 hours. This is given in question. This is given in the question only. Similarly, second person takes 8 hours to complete job 2. The fourth person takes 4 hours to complete job 1. Are you able to understand how the question is being framed? The question is being framed stating how many hours the person takes individually to complete a given job. Now can you tell me that when assignment question is asked, which job should be allocated to which men? My question is, which job should be allocated to which men? So a job should be allocated to that person. A given job should be allocated to that person who takes minimum time to complete that job. The time taken by the person should be minimum. So if you see here in our column, sixth column, see, the sixth man takes 1 hour to complete the sixth job. Similarly, the fifth man takes 1 hour to complete the sixth job. Every man is taking only 1 hour to complete the sixth job. Does that mean that I should be allocating all the 6 men to do the sixth job because they are all completing the job in 1 hour? No. Why no? Because I have 6 different jobs and I have 6 different men. So my work is I should be allocating one single job to one person only. Therefore, I need to find a combination. So see guys, how do we find a combination? I'll explain you here only. You have to pay a little attention. If you have any doubt, just type in. I'll stop there in and I'll just repeat. Okay, so you have to just concentrate. I'll zoom in a little more. So see, when you solve the question of assignment, the first thing you have to check is, are the number of rows and the number of columns equal? So we'll count. The number of rows are 6 and the number of columns are 6. So yes, we have 6 rows and 6 columns. That is our first step. So the first step is what? We have to identify whether we have equal number of rows and columns. So first step is there should be equal number of rows and columns. Okay, so guys, we are doing the assignment question, and in the assignment question we are using the Hungarian method right now. In the Hungarian method, the first step is to check whether the number of rows and number of columns are equal or not. So if they are equal, then we will move to step 2. Now what is step 2? So we'll again come to our solution here. So for step 2, what would be required? For step 2, we have to do a row operation. So guys, see here, row operation table. So when you are solving the question in the exam, first you will make as it is given in the question with equal number of rows and columns. and then you would remake the table. You would make the second table now. So the second table is known as the row operation. So in the row operation, what is required to be done now? We have to subtract the minimum number which is there in each row and each column. Which is there in each row and each column. So see, if you see this table, can you tell me which is the minimum number in row 1? So see, we'll check the row 1. We have 2, 9, 2, 7, 9, 1. So which is the minimum number? 1. So we have to subtract 1 from all the numbers here. So guys, see, that is how we'll be able to make the second table. So see, this is 2 here. So 2 minus 1, here we should be getting 1. So are you able to see 1 here? Then 9 minus 1, 8. 2 minus 1, 1. 7 minus 1, 6. 9 minus 1, 8. And 1 minus 1, 0. That is how you just found your first row. Similarly, you are now required to find your row 2. So in your row 2, which is the minimum number? Again 1. So 6 minus 1, 5. 8 minus 1, 7. 7 minus 1, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. 14 minus 1, 13. 1 minus 1, 0. Similarly, in row 3, row 4, row 5 and row 6, you have to identify the minimum number in the respective row, and you have to subtract that number from all the numbers given in the row. Is it clear for everybody? If not, I'll repeat. Just type in whoever has a doubt and I'll repeat.
Understood, ma'am.
So, understood? Okay.
Clear, ma'am.
So now after the row operation, so in the second step, what did we do? We did a row operation. So step 2 is row operation. And what does the row operation mean? The row operation says that the minimum number in the respective row should be subtracted from all the elements of the row. So the minimum number in the respective row has to be subtracted from all the numbers, from all the elements in that row. Okay. Now we'll come to step 3. So what is step 3? Step 3 is a column operation. Step 3 is a column operation. So what is a column operation here? Column operation is the minimum number in the respective column has to be subtracted from all the elements in that column. So just like the row operation, we will be doing a column operation now. So see, now this row operation table becomes your base. So first column is this one, first column. So in the first column, this column, first column. In the first column, the minimum number is 1. In the second column, the minimum number is 1. In the third column, the minimum number is 1. In the fourth column, the minimum number is 2. In the fifth column, the minimum number is 7. And in the sixth column, the minimum number is 0. So we have to subtract these numbers, and that's how we'll get the column operation. So see here. See, 1 minus 1, 0, 5 minus 1, 4, 3 minus 1, 2, 3 minus 1, 2, 4 minus 1, 3, 8 minus 1, 7. Similarly, we do it for other columns also. See, in the fifth column, the minimum number was 7. So we had subtracted 7 from all the numbers. So if you see, the first element is 8. 8 minus 7, 1. 13 minus 7, 6. 7 minus 7, 0. 9 minus 7, 2. 11 minus 7, 4. And 8 minus 7, 1. So we have done the column operation now. So this is how it looks after the column operation. So in 3 steps, we made 3 boxes. Okay. Now we'll come to the fourth step. So what is the fourth step now? So in the fourth step, what do we do is, in the fourth step, what has to be done is, I have to cancel the rows and the columns having zeros. I have to cancel the rows and the columns having zeros. So see, I'll again take you to the third step only, the column operation table. So see, in the column operation table, the first row contains how many zeros? See, 1 0, 2 0, 3 0. The first row contains 3 zeros. Similarly, the second row contains 1 0. The third row contains 3 zeros. Fourth row contains 3 zeros. Fifth row contains 1 0. And sixth row contains 1 0. So how do we make the fourth table? That means how do we do the fourth step? So to do the fourth step, I am required to find out rows and columns having maximum zeros. And those rows and columns I have to cross. Okay. So which is the row or column having maximum zeros, if you can find out very clearly? So very clearly, if we see, the sixth column has maximum zeros, that is 6 zeros. So the first thing we would do is we would cancel the sixth row. And how do we cancel it? So to see how do we cancel it, just look at the next table, improved matrix assignment table. So see, the first thing that has to be done is you just cancel the sixth column. You see at the end, the sixth column is cancelled. The only thing you have to focus right now is cancellation of the sixth column. So you put a line. In your exams, you can use a pencil to cancel the column. So you use a pencil and you cancel the sixth column. Okay. Now, which other row or column has maximum zeros? So we'll again look at the same operation column matrix. So see, after cancelling the sixth column, the other zeros, I see 2 zeros in my row 1. I see another 2 zeros in my row 3. And I see another 2 zeros in my row 4. See guys, in my row 1, I see 2 zeros. In my row 3 also I see 2 zeros. And in my row 4 also I see another 2 zeros. So now what would be my work? I'll have to cancel these rows. So see how does it look now after cancelling the rows? See, the first row was having 2 zeros, so I cancelled the whole row. Then the third row was having 2 more zeros, so I cancelled the whole third row. The fourth row is also having 2 more zeros, so I cancelled the whole fourth row. So how many rows and columns I have cancelled? I have cancelled 3 rows and I have cancelled 1 column. Now, what is my next step? So, I'll write down your step 3 here. My step sorry, I'll write down your step 4 here. So what was your step 4? My step 4 was to cancel rows and columns having maximum zeros. Having maximum zeros. So till the time I cancel all the zeros, I'll have to cancel the row and column. This means after cancelling, should I be left with any zero which is not being cancelled? So the answer is no. All the rows and columns, even if they have a single zero also, has to be cancelled. So if you see again here, the second row is not cancelled. Why? Because now no more zero is remaining. The fifth row is also not cancelled and the sixth row is also not cancelled. Why it is not being cancelled? Because it is not having any zero. If it would be having any one zero also and not maximum zeros, then also it would be required to be cancelled. Okay. So now this was a step 4. Now we have to go to step 5. So what is step 5 now? See. So to go to step 5, what am I required to do now? I am required to see. Wait, I'll first type. Okay. Now see. The first job, that means now I am talking to with, you have to look at the first column. When I'm telling first job, then what would you look at? First column. So in the first column, you see how many zeros? A single zero. Now my step 5 is finding out single zeros in my columns. I have to find out single zeros in my columns. So if I see job 1, I have only one zero and that is for the first men. So what am I required to do? I have to make a square on the single zero. Okay. Now come to second column. In the second column, do I have one zero only or do I have more than one zeros? I have only one zero. So what would I do here now? Again, I would again just make a square on this zero. Okay. Now, if you look at men 2, for the men 2, the second row I am talking about. In the second row, you have how many zeros? You have only one zero here. So you will again make a square on the second men and allocate it to the sixth job. See, where am I required to allocate? The assignment happens where there is no confusion between which job should be allocated to which man. That means a clear allocation is possible. Clear allocation means only one person is required to do one job, and that requirement is found out by zero. Wherever there is a zero, there the assignment should happen. That is the key point you have to know. So we see that we have allocated the first job to the first person. We have allocated the second man the sixth job. We have allocated the third man the fourth job, because there is no confusion here. Now see here, uh, in the sixth, in the sixth, uh, in the sixth men, we have the sixth column, which is having a 0. But we have already allocated the sixth job to the second man. So would we be able to allocate it to the sixth man? No, because one job for one person only. Now see uh, the fourth job. The fourth job, can it be allocated? We have in the fourth, look at the fourth row now. In the fourth row, we have a 0 in the second column. Okay, we have a 0 in the fourth column also, and we have a 0 in the sixth column also. So does it mean that the fourth way the fourth man would be doing 3 jobs? No, we have to do a clear allocation. Now how would we be able to do the clear allocation? See, fourth job is already being allocated to the third man, and sixth job is also being allocated. So fourth 0 and the sixth 0 does not make any sense. So the only remaining 0 we have is the 0 in the second column. So we'll again make a square here. Now we'll look at the fifth man. In the fifth man, we see that there is no remaining 0 because the 0 is in the sixth column, but we have already allocated the sixth job. Similarly, in the sixth row also, there is no remaining 0 which can be given a clear allocation. So now we have 2 jobs remaining and we have 2 men remaining. The 2 jobs that are remaining is the third job and the fifth job. And the 2 men that are remaining are the fifth man and the sixth man. So after this, what would I do now? After this, I would again start from step 1. I would again start from step 1. So guys, what does it mean again start from step 1? See, what was step 5? Step 5 was assign jobs in rows and columns having zeros. Having clear zeros. But if we don't have the clear 0, then what is the step 6? Step 6 is repeat from step 2. What does it mean? Repeat from step 2. Again, I'll have to make a table doing the row operation. Then after that, I have to do a column operation. After that, I have to cancel rows and columns having maximum zeros. And then I have to assign jobs in rows and columns having clear zeros. Okay, so we'll see now how would we do that. See. Now in the fifth, now from where would we be able to find the minimum number? How do we find the row minimum? For row minimum, I have to subtract the minimum number. So which is the minimum number here? The minimum number is 46536 31724 76 10 10 8. So now I'll not do respective rows and columns, but I'll subtract the minimum number from the whole table. So which is the minimum number from the whole table? The minimum number from the whole table is 1. Okay. So now I'll subtract 1. I'll subtract 1 from all the numbers which are not being cancelled. I'll subtract 1 from all the numbers which are not being cancelled. So what all are the numbers which are not being cancelled? See, 4, 6, 5, 3, 6, 3, 1, 7, 2, 4 and 7, 6, 10, 10, 8. So I subtract 1. So when I subtract 1, what would I get? 4 minus 1, 3. Here, 6 minus 1, 5. 5 minus 1, 4. Similarly, in the fifth column, I'll get a 0 here because 1 minus 1 becomes what? 0. So my objective was to get a 0. So I got a 0 by subtracting 1. But what I am supposed to do now, I have to add 1 on places where I have an intersection in rows and columns. So intersection in rows and columns is where I have a row cancellation also and where I have a column cancellation also. So guys, see, look at the sixth column right now. Here we have a 0 which is being cancelled from the row side also and from the column side also. So we subtracted 1 from the numbers which were uncancelled. So what would we do now? We'll add 1 to the place where there is a double cancellation. So find out places of double cancellation. One is this 0, second is this 0, and third is this 0. See, 3 zeros we have. One in the first row, second in the third row, and third in the fourth row. So what would we do on these zeros? We would add the number which we have subtracted. So which number did we subtract from all the uncancelled numbers? We subtracted 1 from all the uncancelled numbers. So now we'll add 1 to the place of intersection of the zeros. So see 3 numbers here. We have 1 now here. See in this table 1, 1 and 1 in the sixth column. Add the 3 places row 1, row 3 and row 4 in the sixth column. Now on these 3 zeros we have a 1 here. So I'll write down here in step 6. Don't repeat from step 2 only, but what has to be done? Find out the minimum number from the uncancelled cells and subtract it from the uncancelled numbers only. See guys, this is important. The subtraction has to be done only from the uncancelled numbers. Nothing has to be done to the cancelled numbers. Only one thing has to be done to the cancelled numbers, and what is that? At the intersection, add the number subtracted in step 6. Okay, so at the intersection, add the number subtracted in step 6. That has to be done. So see, we added and we subtracted. Now we have a new table. Now in this new table, we have to again highlight all those zeros. Highlight means I have to again make the square. Not a new square, but the square which I got here. So in row 1, I got a square on job 1. So I put the square back here. Again in row 2, again in column 2, I got a square in row 4. So I have to again make that square. Whatever allocation, 4 allocations I had done so far. So all those 4 allocations again have to be placed on this new table. Now what would we do after this? So this is a new table. In this new table now, see, do you have zeros? So I have zeros here. I have 0 here in the fifth column. If you see the fifth column, you have 1 0. In the fourth column, you have one more 0. Do you have a 0 in the third column? Yes, I have a 0 in the third column. Do I have a 0 in the fifth and sixth column? Yes. Now see, in the fifth column, I have two zeros. In the fifth row, Guys, see the fifth row. In the fifth row, I have two zeros. One is in job 2 and one is in job 6. And in the sixth row, I have 1 0, which is there in sixth job. So in the sixth row, I have only 1 0. That means the sixth man should be allocated the sixth job. But the sixth job is already allocated. So that I can't do. Okay. So I'll have to perform another operation here. So I'll look at the other table now. Clear allocation, again not possible. Okay. Now what would I find now? Now I would, when clear allocation is still not possible after subtracting and adding the numbers, now I'll again repeat from step 2. So what was the step 2? Again I have to find my row minimum and column minimum. So guys, uh, in the table you are seeing right now, this one, what they have done is they have done the row minimum and column minimum together. That is why you are seeing this. See, uh, if you see this table which we had obtained after adding the number 1, you got this table. Okay. Now, let us do row minimum. So after doing row minimum, what would you get in the first row? You would get 0. Which is the minimum number in row 1? 0. So you have to subtract 0. So this comes again same. In the second row there is a 0, in the third row there is a 0, in the fourth row also there is a 0, fifth row also there is a 0, and sixth row also there is a 0. So when you do the row minimum, in each of the rows the minimum number is 0. So when you subtract 0 from all the numbers, you'll again get the same. Now you do column minimum. So in the column matrix, in the first column there is a 0, but which is being squared. So the other minimum number, is which one? 2. The other minimum number is 2 here. Okay. So I subtract 2 from all the numbers. So what do I get? 3 minus 2, 1. So see here, in your next table, what would you get? 3 minus 2, 1. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. And 6 minus 2, 4. So you subtracted 2 from the 2 from your first column. Now in your second column, they have made some error in the table. That's why I just, 1 second. Okay. So guys, see, after I have done this part, after I have obtained this part, then I have two things remaining. The remaining things are the fifth job and the sixth job. The remaining jobs are the third job and the sixth job. Third job and the fifth job. So the third job I can allocate to the fifth man or I can allocate it to the sixth man. Similarly, the fifth job can be allocated to the fifth man or the sixth man. What does this mean? That after doing the operation, after finding out the row minimum and the column minimum, still I am not able to get a clear answer. Then how would I get to the clear answer? To get to the clear answer, now I'll choose arbitrarily. Arbitrarily means randomly. Randomly here means I have the third and the fifth job which are not being allocated, and I have the fifth and the sixth persons who have to be given the work. So I'll have two solutions now. What would be the two solutions? The fifth job can be allocated to either the third person or to the third job can be allocated to either the fifth man or the sixth man, and similarly the fifth job can be allocated to either the fifth man or the seventh man. So how would your answer look like? See, the fifth job, they have allocated it, they have done one more operation which they have done randomly only, wherein they have found out the third and the fifth, they have done a reallocation. But whatever we have allocated, we'll just keep it like that only and we'll publish two solutions. So I'll publish how the solution would look at. 1 second. So see, the first men, I'll write here jobs and I'll write here to which men. So the first job, I have 6 jobs here. So first job I am allocating to the first man. The sixth job I am allocating to the second man. Sixth job to the second man. Then fourth job to the third man. And finally the second job to the fourth man. Second job to the fourth man. Now I have a confusion here for the third and the fifth job. So third job, let us first here allocate to fifth man, and in the alternative answer, let's allocate it to the sixth person. Similarly, the fifth job here to the sixth man and here to the fifth man. So I have two solutions here. In the first solution, I have allocated the third job randomly to the fifth man, and here I have allocated the fifth job to the sixth man. And here in the second solution, I have reversed the third to the sixth and fifth to the fifth. Now I'll have to find out my time. So we'll look at which person takes how much time to complete which job. So to find out the time, we have to look at our original table. So in the question, what was the table given, that we have to now look at. So we'll again go back to our question. So in the question, see here, the first job was completed by the first man in 2 hours. The first job by the first man in 2 hours. So here I'll put 2. The second job by the fourth man I need now. So the second job by the fourth man is again completed in 2 hours. So I'll put a 2 here again. Now the third job by the fifth man. The third job by the fifth man was completed in 9 hours, and by the sixth man was completed in 12 hours. So in one part I'll put 9 and in one part I'll put 12. So here 9 and here 12. Now the fourth job by the third man. The fourth job by the third man was completed in 7 hours. Now the fifth job by the sixth man. The fifth job by the sixth man. The fifth job by the sixth man was completed in 9 hours. The fifth job by the sixth man was completed in 9 hours. And the fifth job by the fifth man. Fifth job by the fifth man was completed in 12 hours. Now the lastly, sixth job by the second man. So sixth job by the second man. Sixth job by the second man. One hour. So here now we'll put 1. So the total time taken for our jobs is how much? $30. And if we see the alternative solution, then what is the answer here? Our solution is 36. So we have two answers here. In the first answer, we have 30 hours, and in the second answer, we have 36 hours. So the solution which we get is the time minimum taken is 30 hours, because here it is 36, no. So our objective in operations management was to find out the minimum cost. So minimum cost is which one? Minimum time taken is which one? 30 hours. So we'll highlight that in our alternative solutions, we are getting the lowest in the solution A, wherein the time taken to complete the project is 30 hours. So that becomes your answer, 30 hours. So now this is how you do your assignment problem. If you have any doubt as to how to do, then you can ask me again. Okay. Now, there is another question which is being given. Illustration 2. A captain of a cricket team has to allot 5 middle batting positions to 5 batsmen. The average runs scored by the batsmen are being given. So you have 5 rows here and you have 5 columns here. What you are supposed to do is you have to assign which position which batsman should go when there is a match. So you have to again do what? You have to again subtract, you have to follow the same steps as I have mentioned. But here in this question, what is being given? Uh, what is given? 40 runs, 40 runs, 35 runs. These are the average runs the batsmen have made. So when the runs are given, that means maximum things are given. Then you are supposed to convert this matrix into a loss matrix, because this is known as a profit matrix. So how to convert this matrix is you have to find the maximum number in this matrix. So which is the maximum number in the matrix? If you see, the maximum number here, as I can see, is 60. Do you see any other number which is greater than 60? No. So the maximum number is which one? 60. So what I am supposed to do is, okay. So instead of, so now what we are supposed to do is, in this question, I just saw that the maximum runs that are ever scored by the batsman are 60 runs. Okay, so we'll just keep the 60 number in our mind, and we'll again do as we have stated. So what was our steps? First step was I have to see whether there are equal number of rows and columns. After that, I have to do a row operation. And what is the row operation? I have to find the minimum number in each row, each respective row, and that number has to be subtracted from all the elements in that row. Then I do a column operation wherein I find the minimum number in the column, and that has to be subtracted from all the elements in that column. Then I cancel rows and columns having maximum zeros. Then I'll assign jobs in rows and columns having clear zeros. After that, also, if the assignment is not completed, then I have to find out the minimum number from the uncancelled cells and subtract it from the uncancelled numbers. After that, what would I do? The number which I have subtracted from the uncancelled cells, that I'll have to add at the intersection. After that, I have to do after that, I have to do the assignment. Okay. For doing the assignment, again, what I can do is, again, I can repeat from step 2. If clarity is not possible, then one more step you can do is step 8, that is repeat from step 2. Or else what you can do is allocate randomly. Allocate randomly. So that's how you complete your allocation. But after the allocation, you have to give them the answer, just like the box. So step 10 is to provide a solution. Step 10 is to provide the solution, wherein you will tell that, okay, this job has to be allocated to this person and this is the time it would take, or whatever is given, the average runs that can be scored as per in the second illustration. So that is how you have to give your answer in the assignment question. Okay. Now, after the class, please solve the second illustration. Please tick mark. If you all must be having your institute materials, or you must be having your soft versions. So please by yourself solve the illustrations which are given on the assignment, so that if you have any doubts, then when tomorrow, when we again have a class, no, then you can ask me the questions as to what happened. Now see guys, what is there in the third illustration? In the third illustration, what is given is average time taken by an operator on a specific machine is tabulated below. The management is considering replacing one of the old machines by a new one, and the estimated time for operation by each operator on the machine is also indicated. So what is now asked from you? They are telling that there are 6 operators and there are 6 machines, but the company is planning to introduce a new machine. So to introduce a new machine, they have to replace it with an existing one. So they are asking you that with which machine they should replace the new machine. So you have to tell them whether it is M1, M2, M3, M4, M5 or M6. Which machine is obsolete, which should be replaced and the new one should be introduced. So what would you do now? We would repeat from steps. See, what we are doing is, in the first step, we just find out that there are equal number of rows or columns or not. So yes, the new machine right now will keep on hold, and we have 6 operators and 6 machines. So we have 6 rows and 6 columns for the time being. Now on that we will do the step 2, that is our row operation. That means in each row we have to find the minimum number. So we found out the minimum number. Then we did the column operation. After the column operation, what do? We cancel the rows and columns having maximum 0. So now we'll cancel the rows and columns. And wherever there is a clear 0, there we would do the allocation. After that, what we'll do is, from all the uncancelled numbers, I have to subtract the minimum number. So guys, again, just pay attention on the improved matrix. Right now you are seeing the improved matrix. So see, in the improved matrix, the uncancelled numbers are 2, 1, 5, 2, 0, 3. So which is the minimum number? 1. So I have to subtract 1 from all the uncancelled numbers. So this would become 1, this would become 0, this would become 4, 1, 0 and 2. Okay. After that, what would I do? I would add one at the intersection. So where all are the intersection? So the first intersection is here where I have highlighted right now, 0. Then this is the place of second intersection. See, this is the third intersection. Then here we have fourth intersection, fifth intersection, sixth intersection, and seventh intersection. So we have 7 intersections here, wherein at every intersection I would be adding 1 because I had subtracted 1 from the uncancelled numbers. So now after adding and subtracting, I would get a new matrix. Okay. So after the allocation, we would see that how many hours the machine is taking. So after the allocation, we just saw that the machine is taking 17 hours to complete the work. Okay. And which machine is taking the maximum time? Machine 1 and machine 4. They are taking 4 hours each. So which machine should be replaced? Either the machine 1 or the machine 4 should be replaced. Either the machine 1 or the machine 4 should be replaced. Okay. Now, in the question, they have asked 3 questions from you. The 3 questions are, the first question was find out an allocation to the old machine to achieve minimum. Second question they have asked is reset the problem with the new machine and find out the allocation and comment whether it is advantageous to replace an old machine to achieve a reduction in operating time only. So what they have asked is, they have asked you to introduce the new machine and solve the question. So when you are introducing the new machine, guys, just pay attention for a second. When you are adding the new machine, then how many machines would you have? 7 machines. But you have how many operators? 6 operators. So the first step which we found was in the Hungarian method is we have to find out equal number of rows and columns. If the rows and columns are not equal, then what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to introduce a new row or a column. And if that row or column, what would you do now? Introduce a new row or a column with zeros. So when you introduce it, you have to put in all zeros. So see here, what they have done is they have introduced a new column because we have 7. They have introduced a new row. Why? Because we have 7 columns and 6 rows. So the rows and columns do not match. So when the rows and columns do not match, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to add a row or a column. And how do you add a row and column? What do you write in all the elements? In all the elements, you would be writing zeros. So we wrote zeros, and that's how we introduced a new row. Okay. Now, after this, the same method has to be found. Row matrix, then column matrix. Then we have to find out the zeros. Then we have to cancel them, and then we have to find out the solution. So in the solution, the answer would be like minimum hours or maximum profit or minimum cost. So now if the minimum hours are less than 20, see in the first we got 17 hours, I suppose. How many hours we got? 17 hours. So now we are getting how many hours when we introduce the 7 new machine, we are able to complete it in 13 hours. So whether it is advisable to replace the machine, yes, it is advisable, because if I'm introducing the new machine, then I'm able to save my time. So that's how you would say that introduction of the new machine is important. So guys, at home, what you're supposed to do is you have to solve illustration 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll also check whether fifth has to be done. Yes, you do fifth also. See, in the fifth question, you are a profit matrix is given. Guys, one more thing I'm writing in the notes here. Whenever whenever a profit matrix is given, convert it into a loss matrix. So how would you convert it into a loss matrix? The maximum number, subtract all the elements from the maximum number. So what does this mean? This means that here the maximum number is 42. If you see 42, that means 42 minus 42, 0. 42 minus 35, 7. 42 minus 28, 14. 42 minus 21, 21. So this is how your matrix would look like. See? 0, 7, 14, 21. So the maximum number, from the maximum number, you have to subtract all the elements from the maximum number. That's how you would get a new matrix. And then again, you have to do the row operation, column operation, improve matrix, and then the assignment.